Hey everyone, hope everyone's having an awesome day. Right now we're actually approaching the football season and we're getting a lot of athletes that are hurt over here at Pr1me Movement, and the parents are, naturally concerned to some extent. They want to make sure that they can keep their child, their athlete, as close to injury-free and safe as possible during the football season. So what I've got for you guys here today are just some general tips that I'd like to kind of show you and just talk about to make sure that we can help keep your kids as injury-free and safe as possible. And I know that there's certain things that are a little bit out of your control, but it doesn't feel good, right? If you don't think that you have any control or the opportunity to keep your child as healthy as possible and as safe as possible. So let's just kind of get in some things, some basic things that you guys can do on a daily basis. So these athletes are putting themselves under a lot of duress. They're going through, especially, we're probably past 2 days right now, but even everyday single practices, whether it's 1 to 2 hours, they're going through a lot of water, right? So stay well hydrated, not just from water, but also electrolytes. These kids are, especially during practice, going through so much sweat. They're probably safe to get between 6 to 8 ounces every 15 minutes. They might actually lose up to a liter of sweat during that course of a practice. So make sure that you give them a lot of water and electrolytes. Obviously your classic Gatorades and what have you. I think a lot of other drinks are getting better at providing electrolytes too, but potassium and sodium really are the big two, and even a little magnesium would be helpful to help them stay hydrated. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to change it so you can see. There we go. Okay. So stretch often as well. These kids are working hard. They're utilizing their muscles, and muscles will adapt to the stimulus given. Stretch early and often. For my athletes, I like them even, when they first wake up, before they even get out of bed. I know they're getting up early for school, but man, just spend 2 to 3 minutes just doing a nice, easy couple of stretches. I could show you how sometime if you'd like. But stretch a little bit when you first wake up. I know they can't necessarily doing school, and then they got practice. But then the night of, when they get home, maybe after homework, make sure they're doing, most of my athletes are a little more night owls than morning birds. So I tend to get a little more juice out of the orange juice, if you will, out of the oranges at night. So we're a little bit more able to help people stretch out at night. So maybe 5 to 10 minutes. That'll kind of keep the blood flowing, keep them loose. Injuries do occur when muscles get really tight. So stretch early and often. I would say 5 to 10 minutes. I like to prescribe the stretches that are most specific to the problem that they have. So if they have tight hips, they have tight hamstrings, if they're tight thighs, we want to address wherever they're tightest and stretch that area. Make sure that they're resting and recovering. These kids are working hard. They're go, go, go. So give them an opportunity to have that rest, to have that purposeful rest where they just lie down for 10 or 15 minutes, where it's mindless rest. I know they got homework, school drama, but give them the 10 to 15 minutes. If they want to just kind of, meditate would be great. Most kids aren't quite able to get to that point in high school. I know I wasn't, but they can meditate, chill out, relax 10 to 15 minutes, and just consider that it's very helpful for them to recover. They don't always have to be doing something. I know that I'm even guilty of that to some extent too. Sleep. These athletes need a lot of sleep as it is, just because of their age, but now you throw on the amount of duress, the amount of work, and I'll talk about it in a second, but with stress. But make sure they're going to bed as early as they can to get at least the 8 hours. Most of my athletes that I work with are probably struggling to get 8 hours just for the nature of the beast. They're all wound up at night. They're on YouTube on their phones, but make sure that they're really putting forth the effort to get sleep. I like the app Calm, C-A-L-M. That's actually a really nice meditational app. Kind of helps me start breathing. So you can help encourage your kids to even do that rather than get on the phone, whether on Snapchat or YouTube. Incredibly helpful. Manage stress. So make sure that they're managing stress. Stress from school seems really, really big, right? Even though as an adult, and as the parent, you might be like, really, that's not that big of a deal. Believe you me, like life gets a lot worse than that. But to them, it's still stress. Like, it's all about perspective. So if you can help them continue to build a good social support, help them manage their stress, and that alone will help their body cope with the duress, right, that they're under from a physical perspective. Your body doesn't know whether it's physical stress or mental stress. It views it all the same. And if their cup is full in terms of all the stress that they can handle, they don't have much of their body's ability to handle the stress and recover from it. Obviously, the better they're managing stress, the more they can recover from the physical stress. So next would be frequent therapeutic massage, actually. Maybe you already know of a good massage therapist. We tend to do a lot of hands-on work here ourselves because we know where they're limited in range of motion. We know a little bit more to the story about the joints and muscles, but I would say, genuinely speaking, if possible, generally speaking, try to get to a good deep tissue work for a full 60 minutes, ideally once a week. I know that might seem like a lot up front as an investment, but I can tell you right now, it'll be well worth it. You're going to just kind of prime their system as best as possible to manage the stress of football, and it'll help the blood flow. It'll help kind of clear, if you want to think about it like the toxins that are in their body, you can kind of think of it like that. And it'll just kind of keep the system an upregulated state where it's going to be able to handle the football season so much more. It's such a profound impact. And I mean, I personally treat injuries and pain all the time, and a lot of times I'm treating the myofascial system anyway. So you could kind of think about it as proactive and prophylactic treatment where you're getting ahead of the curve. Be primary in your approach. Don't wait until something's hurt before we'd have to do the same thing anyways. And if you wait till they're hurt, chances are you're going to have to invest a lot more time and money and energy rather than if you would have stopped it before. It's just the nature of the beast. Ounce of prevention worth a pound of cure. We all know that. Sometimes it's hard to just commit that when the problem isn't up front at hand. Keep a weightlifting at a minimum. So if they're at a weightlifting course in class, or maybe they're trying to really push it hard outside of there, it's like the only time you'll ever hear me say keep the weightlifting at a minimum, just because they're working so hard with the sport specifics as it is, with the sprinting and the cutting and the agility and the hits. You really don't want to add more of a requirement to their body to recover from something like that. So I would say, honestly, 1 to 2 days a week, 30 minutes to an hour is probably enough. If you're doing 4 to 5 days a week, hour or more, that's probably too much, especially in the heat of a football season and the heat that we're also dealing with right now. So you got to take that into consideration. Appropriate nutrition, of course. So appropriate in this case means that, I'm just kind of scooting to the next one, carbs are okay. They should be good carbs, right? Would I rather have them on Mountain Dew and Cheetos rather than a good whole plate of healthy whole grain pasta and potato? You know, of course, work with a dietitian if you want to really kind of get into it, but make sure that they are getting enough calories in. You'd almost prefer them to be hypercaloric, where they're almost getting too much just so that they could recover quicker rather than not getting enough. So don't leave them malnourished. It's not really the time to like try to really cut weight hard. They're going to need a lot of calories, a lot of protein, as well as, of course, the vegetables and the antioxidants. Supplements are totally fine as well. If they're giving you the antioxidants that you need, if they're giving you the vitamins, these kids are going to be going through a lot of that. So they're going to need the nutrition side to be covered. Keep an eye on accumulative fatigue throughout the season. They might do pretty well. You might be kind of on top of it throughout weeks 1 through 4 in the football season. Things can add up, right? So keep an eye out on cumulative fatigue. Communicate with a coach if you see something. Injuries usually occur later in the year just from micro trauma, where the same muscle is getting worked over and over and over, and eventually it kind of gives in, and that's where injuries can occur. And that's why we talked about rest and recover earlier. Go into it for the long haul. Football season can be a long season. So really keep an eye on accumulative fatigue. Maybe they just don't feel like themselves. Maybe they're losing their appetite, their diet. You're just noticing something's not quite right with them. That's really where it's time to step in and take action. If any of this resonated with any of you guys, and if you'd like ourselves to kind of step in, feel free to give us a call there. Inquire for a prime assessment. And really what we could do there is get a chance to understand you and your athlete's needs, what school they're at, what position they play, any previous injuries that they've had. And that way, guys, we can just work smarter and harder over this. And we're not, we're mitigating the chances of injury. And I think that's incredibly important. I've got a young kid right now, and I know for me, I'll do whatever it takes to help keep them out of the injury, just because I work in the injury position all the time. I see what happens when they do get injured. Believing me, it's totally worth saving that and doing what you can now. So feel free, if you need help, give us a call, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that was helpful. Leave any questions or comments below. Thank you.